Well, really a big week. Georgia, Missouri, the Braves win the World Series. Mark Richt's going to be celebrated at the half. There's a fair amount of recruits coming in for this game. So Dean Legge, Matt DeBerry, getting you ready here on Dog Post. Final feelings, Matt. We started talking a second ago, and the recording screwed up on us. The internet gremlins strike again. You were rolling though pretty good. I'm just going to turn it over to you and let you talk.
Well, I was talking about Missouri's defense, how kind of bad they've been all year, giving up 288 points so far. I think whoever plays quarterback should have a really nice day. I mean, Stetson only threw the ball a handful of times against Florida. That's probably something we'll see again. I think it's going to be a run-heavy type of day for the offense, but it's a game where we should probably see JT Daniels out there slinging it around a little bit, getting back into the grind, building chemistry with his receivers. At the end of the day, they're going to have to play probably Alabama in the SEC title game unless Auburn goes on some crazy magical run. And they're going to need a healthy JT Daniels when that time comes. So 4 games left. Missouri has a bad defense. Georgia should be able to do whatever they want. And this should be a time where we see JT Daniels and maybe throw it to some of these receivers who are starting to finally become healthy as well.
There's been no time this season that Missouri has permitted fewer than 24 points. More often than not, they have allowed more than 30, and in several games, they've allowed more than 40. So this is a team that gave up 35 to Kentucky, 28 to Southeastern Missouri, 41 to Boston College, 62 to the Vols, 35 to North Texas, 35 to the Aggies, and then 28 to a Vanderbilt team that couldn't get a first down against Georgia. So we're talking about, I mean, the line when it came out, I was like, whoa, I don't know about that. I would take Georgia to cover. And that's something go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I have it 45-6, so 39. So I think Mizzou barely covers this game.
If you
But
get that line at
it should be
38,
over by the half again, Dean. And uh, slow second half for sure.
if you get the line at 38, you could be in good shape. My concern is you better not, you better kind of go ahead and get it if you're going to get it, because it might go up to 40. Georgia's going to score a pile of points in this game, whether they're trying to or not. Now we all know how this goes. There was actually some pretty good questions from the beat media about this during the week, talking about, hey, why do you choose to run the clock out essentially, like they did against the Gators over the weekend? And there
You
were
there?
there were good questions. I'm sorry, Matt. There were some good questions this week from the beat media to Kirby about, hey, why are you closing games out the way that you are? Not why are you throwing more, but what's your decision making in playing particular guys at different times? One guy that came to mind for me was Carson Beck at the beginning of the season. He got in there in the second half against UAB a fair amount, and they were throwing with Carson. If you see a scenario where JT or someone who's not been playing a lot of quarterback gets in there, I would not at all be surprised if they were throwing it. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, you want to get these young quarterbacks in, not to just hand the ball off. They're in because the game is over. So go back to the normal offense. If the starter's in, of course, run the ball and run the ball. But if you're going to give another quarterback a shot, let him run the offense and build some confidence. That's what those reps are for. That's why he's in the game. So I think this game is going to be very similar. I think Georgia could score 35 points in the first half and just have an slow, boring second half, and that's something we've seen multiple times this year for sure.
The interesting thing here is you've got two quarterbacks who have started this season at Georgia, and they both have eligibility remaining. That's the crazy part. Now, I don't know what that means for Carson and Brock Vandagriff or whoever comes along after them. But right this second, I don't see JT leaving right this second. But now things can change very quickly, leaving and going to the NFL. Things can change very quickly in the final 2.5. We got about 2.5 months left in this college football season, and there's no quarterback that's really jumped up and out. Malik Will is his last name. I know his first name is Malik at Liberty. What's his last name?
Willis,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
yeah.
Yeah, sure guy. So I think he's done himself some favors this season, but most quarterbacks have gone backwards this year. So I don't know what that means for JT. Um, but this is going to be. I think Stetson could get drafted late, late, late. I don't think that's completely out of the question. I would probably say he's probably a free agent signing, but I don't think it's out of the question that he would get drafted um, late, late, late. But I think he will get into an NFL. I do think he'll get into an. Well, I say late because
It has to
he
be.
does not. He does not at all have prototypical size, and
Yeah.
it's what it is. I don't know that JT necessarily does, but he's got Stetson beat on that front. But I'm not, we're not going to sit here and talk. I'm not going to talk about Stetson's NFL career or lack thereof. But I do think that
Another
both.
video. Yeah.
Yeah, some other time. I do think there is. If Jake Fromm gets drafted, I don't necessarily know why Stetson wouldn't. It wouldn't be in that area when Fromm was drafted. But both these guys have decisions to make about what they're going to do in the future, and I think that'll affect the other quarterbacks as well. We can't know what will happen with younger quarterbacks, and that's kind of not the point here. But I do think JT is the one to watch here. How? I mean, he could start. I mean, do you think so?
In the NFL?
No, no, no. In the Missouri game.
Oh, definitely. We keep hearing that he's getting closer, getting
Right.
closer. Last week, it looked like he practiced a lot, and Stetson, looked better in practice, or maybe gave
Right.
them, the best opportunity, obviously. But if he's getting closer and getting closer, he should still be out there at least slinging it around. Give Stetson the first two, then JT a third. Do something, but we need to see him out there.
Well, unless Stetson's your quarterback. I mean, like if Stetson Bennett's your quarterback, that's fine. I mean, I think that
Do
look,
you have
Stetson.
problems if Stetson Bennett beat out
Me?
a healthy JT Daniels? Does this team have problems, and are they limited the rest of the way
Well, no.
if
Wait
JT
a second
Daniels
now.
is?
With what you just said, no, that means you're playing the better quarterback. You just said Stetson Bennett beating out a healthy JT Daniels. I mean, let's play the best. Who is the best player on the team? Okay, I'm not judging this. I'm asking the question. Who is
Oh,
the?
I think it's N'Kobe Dean.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so N'Kobe Dean starts though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So if the determination is made by people who have far more expertise than I do, and you do, and the pay is irrelevant, but they have more expertise than because we don't know that they make more than us.
Right, right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Um, well, the public doesn't know that.
Right,
I
right.
mean, hey, listen, you can't get threads like this. This
I
is
just dropped
very
some
old.
coin on all of this
Yeah, I
too.
mean,
This is some
you're
dog
because you're
post coin. There we go. Yesterday morning, we got it. Um,
my wife goes. She listens to this. Jessica goes. You're not wearing that outside, are you? Like, what are you talking about? What is this?
that's
She
great. That
thinks
is a
I'm not.
good. That's good looking.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna start showing pictures, but of my wife. I don't want to start intimidating people online, but I will not be talked to like that. Like she's an in-law of mine. We're married.
That's awesome.
Can't dictate to
That's
me what to
awesome.
wear. Uh, they are certainly more qualified. There's no question. But I mean, I think you saw this week. I mean, to me, if you're Dan Mullen, you should have started Emory Jones. I know there was a lot of pressure. I think he's still the better quarterback, but he should have played Anthony Richardson. Now we're going to see against Carolina. That's probably just going to be straight up Emory, and that to me that gives the Gators a better chance to win. With if Stetson is the better player, and that's been dictated in practice, at this time, and JT's healthy, then I don't see how you don't start Stetson Bennett. However, what we've been dealing with here is not a healthy JT Daniels. We don't know how healthy he is, and in the past, you know, they went with JT at the end of last year. Obviously, the offense took off. They went with him through the spring. He looked better in the spring game. He when he has been healthy, he's been their best quarterback. So, but with what you just said, kind of it triggered me a little bit. I mean, if we're talking about who is the better player, that's for Kirby and them to determine. But if the better player is winning out and everybody's healthy, what's wrong with that?
Why does it hurt Georgia's chances of winning it all if you know that
Not
there's
if the
not
better
going to be
player
a
is
healthy
playing.
JT? Okay,
Oh,
so
we're talking about apples and applesauce right now.
if
You're
JT
changing it
Daniels is
on me.
health, no, I don't mean to. I'm just trying to
Okay.
get my original point across, and I guess I didn't do that the right way. But if JT Daniels, a healthy JT Daniels, is not beating out Stetson Bennett after being kind of the guy last year and this year when he has been healthy, then you might have some problems because I think a healthy JT Daniels is obviously the better way to go and the easier path to beat Alabama and Ohio State, Michigan State, whoever. I mean, you're hoping
I think
ideally
they.
with a healthy
I think.
JT. And if he can't beat
I.
out Stetson, then I don't know.
Well, I'm sorry to keep stepping on you. Sometimes we do have a lag. I think they beat Alabama with Stetson. I'm sorry that that's going to be viewed by some people as some sort of heresy or perhaps contrarian thing. Uh, if Stetson were to play against and there's no certainty that they win with either quarterback, but I think they would with both. If Stetson plays the way he did last year against Alabama, they would not win that game, probably. But he's not been playing like that, and he's not played like that, with the exception perhaps of the Florida game. And even in that game, it wasn't the end of the world. This whole season is going to be about these quarterbacks, and instead of, and well, I say that, but the defense too can kind of explode on you. But I personally, out of just straight up curiosity, I would like to see JT out there and see what in the world's going on. I mean, if he's the same guy that we saw against Carolina and Vanderbilt, then he's their better quarterback.
Yeah, what you just said, the story should be about the defense. The story should not be about the quarterbacks, but it is, of course, just another year where we're talking about the quarterbacks each and every time. Maybe one year we can get one guy, through the whole way who plays, halfway decent and all that. And
when was the last time we had that? 19, and Fromm didn't play well.
But there's always, at that point there was no Justin Fields backing him up, so he was the guy. You're right, but those are the days,
was
right?
Backing him up. Stetson was backing him up. See, you've frozen on the screen. I'm going to give it a second here before I press pause again, because I can see you over here on our other monitor. Stetson was the guy, was Jake Fromm's backup. I'm going to let it pause here for a second. This team is going to be we are maybe we're wrong about our assumptions, and that's the part that I think we got to be careful about in life, and certainly in predicting sports. How do we know that this defense isn't good enough on its own to win the national championship? I mean, I'm asking you genuinely. What offense out there scares you? Can score 35 against Georgia?
I don't think anyone can score 35 on them. Maybe Ohio State on their best day, absolutely clicking and getting some help. I mean, they're not driving the field each and every time. If you do that, you're going to have to get a turnover come your way and be able to get an easy point or two. And you're going to have to hit explosive plays, which is something that, Kendrick and Keely Ringo have not given up a lot on the outside. And I think the longest run Georgia's given up is barely 20 yards, maybe against Florida or Kentucky, one of those runs. No one is getting a lot of big plays on this defense. And we've said earlier in the year, that's the only reason. They're physical, they're deep. The front seven is not allowing the passer to do much of anything. And Kendrick came to Georgia with, high praise. He's a former 5-star. This is year 3 or 4 for him, I think. He's really good. Keely Ringo's a top 10 player in the country. These are long, athletic dudes with speed. And yeah, maybe they do get away with some, grabbing here and there. The officials have definitely let them play for the most part. They're not calling it, so they're going to keep playing that way. Latavius Burney is really physical, and he's handsy as well back there. So
I haven't noticed Latavius lately. I mean,
he's been injured a little bit here and there, but I thought he played really well against Auburn. Didn't see him a ton out there against Florida, but
I was gonna. Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah. And he helps them a lot in the run game.
Man, here's the thing about this defense, and there will be some change next year, particularly if Trayvon and Nolan Smith leave to go to the NFL. This is an old defense. These guys have been out.
They're losing a lot.
Jordan, Devontae, Adam Anderson, Quay Walker, Channing Tindall, Robert Beal, Kendrick Speed, Smith, Brini, they will all leave. Now, they were pretty good last year, and they were pretty good the year before that. And those weren't all the same players. They're going to be replaced by Carter, Stackhouse, Brinson, Mitchell, Logue, Norton, MJ Sherman, Davis. I would imagine Seen and Dean will both leave. I mean, there's going to be a lot of guys, but you're replacing them like with Sori and Munden.
That's the thing. Kirby wants these guys to leave because he knows the young talent he's come in. I mean, what if Aziz decided to come back? What if Eric Stokes decided to come back and Tyson Campbell decided to come back? It's crazy. Exactly. You want these guys to leave, go do their thing. and then just keep the cycle going because they didn't need Aziz to come back. They didn't need Eric Stokes. Next year they might not need Lewis Seen, but Nakobe Dean might hurt him a little bit. They might not need Nolan Smith because they have someone else. But losing Devonta Wyatt and Jordan Davis, they're losing a lot more this year than they did last year. But still, Monty Rice was a big guy who left, and he had 7 tackles for the Titans last year. I mean, they still lost so
Well,
much last year.
Zion Logue has been. I mean, I've liked him for some time, and
Yeah,
obviously you have Carter. They're not gonna just be bad all of a sudden. They're not gonna go to
right.
giving up 30. If they get scored on 30, I have to look at the schedule. But if they allow
This year
30
Stackhouse
next year,
plays well. Yeah,
no, Stackhouse is good. And
yeah.
why do okay? So like we go to games, we watch the high school games. It's not fun, right? I mean, to just go go drive to wherever and
Yeah.
and watch these guys play. I mean, I saw Jalen Carter play live in high school in Florida, and he was really good. I, we saw Stackhouse when they played Grayson. I saw Zion Logue, and I think I called you or told you this guy is probably a little bit underrated. He is really big. He's going to make some plays for them. Um,
He could be a
you know,
breakout guy next year.
did you saw Bill Norton, right?
I went and saw Bill Norton.
And
Made
it was
plays
okay.
easily. Yeah,
Yeah.
best player out there. Yeah,
Warren Brinson we did not see though, right?
no.
But we've seen these guys, and we never saw Mitchell. But I saw MJ Sherman live. We saw Marshall live. I mean, we've seen a lot of these guys. You saw Ringo live. Kimber, no.
hmm No. Oh, I saw him in camps stuff, not on a Friday night, but I saw him
Yeah, I
cover
mean
dudes.
we've seen these guys play on defense and what's coming, and it's not bad. But they don't have Jordan. And for a guy that plays 30% of your plays and gets not 100% of your hype, but let's just say 60% of your hype, Jordan's important. And but he'll be gone. But that's next year. The challenge Kirby has never had to face is winning a national championship and replacing guys. He's always had to replace guys. The replacing he's done for years, but now he'll have to do it with in theory with the spotlight of a national championship. But back to the discussion of the quarterbacks, to me, I don't think it doesn't matter. It does matter. You want your best player out there, and you want to figure out how to land the plane if you're transitioning back to JT. It seems to me like this would be a very good time to get that going. Stetson, for me, left the door open after the Florida game. We'll just see. And I mean, it's Thursday, which has usually been quiet, but these Fridays have been going nuts with quarterback news. The problem is half the time, or just say a quarter of the time, the folks have been wrong. So
Yeah.
we've not traveled down that road, not necessarily on purpose, but um, I am curious to see what happens Saturday. My expectation is that Stetson will start. If JT doesn't play, I mean I think it just might be Stetson the rest of the way.
Yeah, I don't think whoever starts is going to throw more than 15 passes anyway. So the thing is, if JT Daniels can't, throw the ball down the field, which they've asked Stetson to do, quite a bit the last few games, then it's going to be Stetson. But if you're telling me JT can go out and sling it 50 yards in the air,
Well,
why is
Kirby
he
said
why is he
this.
not out there?
I think it's a good question. That is the question, perhaps the question of college football right now. But I don't see a lot of teams that are going to take these guys out. That's the problem that you've got if you're the opposition to this team because the defense is so difficult.
And Zamir White running the ball the way he is. I mean, this looks like the best Zamir we've seen, and that is huge. He's absolutely taken that lead back role where everyone else, it's not as that the carries aren't as divided up as maybe I
No,
thought they'd be because Zamir's
right.
running
Same.
really, really hard, especially at the end of the game.
It's not the Zamir I saw live, but it's getting closer.
He
Zamir,
was just he was faster, more, shiftier, quicker.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't so much that he could run away from guys necessarily. It was just like he would do stuff and you'd be like, holy shit, because you just don't see that a lot from running backs. I mean, straight line speed is always dangerous. That's what James Cook has. Like, you don't want that. I'm still waiting for James Cook, and I fully believe this will happen. I'm still waiting for James Cook's big game because I think it's going to happen this season. But I thought James would have a bigger year. For
Yeah.
Zamir, his ability to change directions quickly, his toughness running. It's all whatever you want to call a running back. I mean, you know, Noshawn was a little bit more of a plastic man.
Did you see
Meaning he
Isaiah
could
Crowell play?
live, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
in high
yeah,
school.
in high
Yeah,
school. Zamir was better than that. But
right.
you knew Isaiah was special. I mean, the takeoff run and he goes up and hugs Mark Richt with Gene Chizik standing right there near the sideline. That was really funny. But um with Zamir, he did a spin move near the sideline when they got him out in the flats, and it was hard to imagine that somebody could do something like that, but Zamir could. He's an exceptional running back with a lot of desire, and there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
All
Um,
right, look, go ahead.
I was going to say it'd be nice to see Kendall Milton healthy again towards the end, and Kenny McIntosh too. When those guys are healthy, they make a lot of plays.
Kenny
It looks like
McIntosh
we'll,
looked good in the time that he was in against the Gators, for sure.
yeah, it'd be nice to have four solid backs. Again, get healthier, get your quarterback, and get this thing rolling the last four games.
And to me, Kenny and James are more lethal with JT as the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
hey, these are Kirby he is an expert on these things, and his job is to not just be an expert but to deliver results. And they are something in 4 in their last 3 seasons, like 26-4, I think. Just quick math. So they're 8-2. They got 8 wins right now. They had 10. No, they had 11. So they're 29-4 in their last however many games that is. So the last 3 seasons. So this Georgia team is really good. I expect them to get to the conference championship and win it. I want to see from that point forward what the rest of the landscape of college football looks like before I declare them the national champions. But they need to handle their business against Mizzou, get JT in there, and take it from there. We're going to see y'all over on the website.